Breaking news. The Russian State Duma has officially recognized September 3 as Victory over Japan Day. The State Duma, the lower house of parliament in Russia, voted on Tuesday to officially recognize September 3 as Victory Day over imperialistic Japan and the end of World War II. After the bill is approved by the upper house of parliament, known as the Federal Council, and signed by President Vladimir Putin, the declaration will become official. After Japan imposed sanctions on Russia for Moscow's invasion of Ukraine in February of last year, a group of representatives from both houses introduced the bill in response to Japan's unfriendly actions. The bill's passage could make it more difficult for Japan and Russia to settle their territorial dispute over islands near Hokkaido that are currently controlled by Russia but are claimed by Japan. These islands were occupied by Soviet troops following the end of World War II. The Putin government has repeatedly said that the war is to blame for Moscow's control of the islands. On September 3, Chinese people celebrate their country's World War II victory over Japan. In a speech he gave in May to commemorate the Soviet Union's victory over Nazi Germany in 1945, Putin praised China's efforts against Japan. The footage is unsightly in its graininess. Apparently on the southern front, a Ukrainian soldier from the 73rd Naval Special Operations Center fights his way through a trench while firing multiple shots at point-blank range at Russian soldiers. The dust created by the fighting only adds to the sense of disorder, panic, and brutality that marks the beginning of this counteroffensive. It would always require the kind of horrific, face-to-face combat depicted in the Special Forces video, and it would never be easy. But whether or not Ukraine can surprise and outwit Moscow's forces, not in grueling close combat, but on a strategic level, remains crucial to the success of its onslaught. Because of this, the initial phase of open operations has gotten off to a sluggish and, at times, incremental start. Ukraine has been gradually wearing down Russian defenses for months. Russia's ability to withstand and adapt to the first major attacks has been weakened by a steady stream of explosions at fuel depots, headquarters, and on railway lines. An apparent ammunition dump was reportedly destroyed in the occupied village of Rykov in the Kherson region on Sunday, so this painstaking work continues. According to open-source researchers, the massive blast pattern indicates powerful secondary explosions. It was also pointed out that the attack was carried out over 100 kilometers, 62 miles, inside enemy territory, which could indicate either a severe lack of awareness among Russian ranks of the new dangers they face from longer-range NATO-supplied missiles, or an inability to adapt and alter their presence accordingly. Rykov is located close to Crimea, where recent surgical Ukrainian attacks have likely hampered railway supply lines. While it's true that no single attack can cripple Russian defenses forever, repeated blows over time can wear down their defenses to the point where they collapse. Russia has sent important signals about its preparedness, supply issues, and priorities as it has moved to counter Ukraine's advances in recent weeks. It's likely that Kyiv is getting accurate information from Western satellites about Moscow's adjustments. Ukraine appears to be maintaining flexibility at the present time. As the strategic land corridor between the occupied Crimea and the Donbass and the Russian mainland, the southern front is of utmost importance. To destroy that land link appears to be the single objective of this counteroffensive. Russian President Vladimir Putin faces a stark choice: leave his military assets in Crimea exposed to a long standoff or cut his losses and pull them back now that they have been cut off from the Donbass. Few experts believe he can stomach the latter, which means we may be in for a long winter siege of the peninsula as Kyiv returns Moscow to the boundaries it stole in 2014-15, or worse. Seeing Russia's past 16 months of carnage and losses end in no strategic gain is arguably a symbolic defeat for Moscow, and a definable victory for Kyiv. For the month of July, the question is how. The Ukrainians have made the most noise about their successes in the southeast near Velika Novosilka. Here, the 68th Brigade is in jeopardy due to its proximity to occupied Volnovakha and the railroad tracks leading to the strategically significant occupied city of Mariupol. Most of the liberated villages in Ukraine are in this general direction. It's part of a painful and expensive push toward Russian lines that, according to drone pilots CNN spoke with in late April, were braced for an attack and had withdrawn some of their heavy machinery from the front. Far to the west of the Zaporizhzhia region, close to the city of Orikhiv, the Ukrainians have also made progress. The fighting has been intense, with reports of Ukrainian casualties near Mala Tokmachka and more recently near Pyatakatki. Some pro-Russian bloggers have claimed the town is free now.